Haldor, sleeping, huddled beneath thick furs to ward off winter's icy touch, dreamed of the past. He dreamed of a time when he was but a boy, with no more than 14 years to his name. The year 304, in the Age of Madness. He would never be able to forget it. In the dream, he was soaring over the peaks of the Valkyrian range, aside his faithful stone snout. He thrilled at the rush of the wind through his hair, and the reassuring, scaly bulk of the dragon beneath him. Then he saw smoke, a thin grey pillar snaking skyward, originating just over a nearby ridge. A campfire for certain, but there shouldn't be anyone out this far into the mountains. Frowning, he landed a safe distance away and commanded his stone snout to wait for him. The beast was large and would easily be spotted, so he made his approach to the ridge on foot, breathing quietly and stepping softly over the snow. Keeping low, heart hammering, Haldor peered over the ridge. His eyes went wide. A pair of Skeldian Windguard sat, huddled and shivering around a campfire, holding their gauntleted hands up to the flame and talking in a carelessly loud voices. Their iron wings crouched nearby, snarling as they tore into a pair of freshly killed sheep. The snow was stained red with the blood.
What does Queen Warda even want with this forsaken place?
The Queen doesn't keep me appraised of her strategic decisions, but if I had to guess, I'd say that a stronghold in the Valkyrian range gives us access to the southern seas. That gives us an edge over the crown of Jorland.
But kidnapping children? Raising them in Skeld to hate Valkyrians? How does that help us?
Because our light-hearted queen knows. Who fights more fiercely than those who resent the circumstances of their birth?
Haldor clenched his fists and fought down his anger. He wanted nothing more than to slay these Skeldian invaders where they stood. But he was outnumbered, and not yet fully grown. No, he had to warn his people of what was coming. He stood to sneak away, but the terrain underfoot was unstable. Haldor tripped and landed heavily in the snow. The Ironwings' heads whipped up, long necks craning as they sniffed the air, muzzles dripping blood. Haldor heard the telltale ring of blades leaving their scabbards, cursing. He pushed to his feet and ran, but it was helpless. He heard the booming snap of leathery wings behind him, and a vast shadow passed overhead. The Ironwings landed before him with a thunderous crash, cutting off his escape, and his stone snout was too far away to call for help. He was trapped. There were heavy footsteps behind him, and he was struck hard behind. He tasted blood as he fell to the ground. He rolled over and looked up to see two Windguards standing over him, the points of their blades hovering but inches from his face.
It's just a kid. Should we take him?
Will you comply, Valkyrian, and serve the kingdom of Skeld?
Haldor spat the blood from his mouth. Never! He saw a grin beneath the tall one's helm.
Thought not.
What followed was little more than a blur of pain and torment. Haldor, along with a handful of other young men from the village, was taken to a Skeldian camp and paraded before the gathering warriors. The captives were strung up by one hand and badly beaten. Consciousness was leaving him when a cold, clipped voice cut through the haze.
Your villages. Your mines. Tell me where they are, and this will be over.
Through swollen, shut eyes, Haldor looked up to behold the fierce, cruel face of the lead-hearted queen herself. He opened his mouth to speak, but his tongue was swollen and dry. Only a rasp came out. The queen sneered.
This is your last chance. Tell me of the metal that contains the power of the gods.
Haldor stared up at her, eyes bright with hatred. He mustered all the strength he had left and hocked a goblet of red spit at her feet. The queen's face contorted with rage.
Show him the meaning of pain,
she said as she marched, curdling away. Once they were done with him, the wing guards left Haldor for dead. He survived only thanks to his ever-faithful stone snout, which returned to him once his assailants had moved on, and carried him leagues to safety. The dream changed then, showing him shorter flashes of the past. He was in the old mines, deep within the ancient fortress of the Valkyrian sanctuary, staring in wonder at the new and vital discovery for his people. Rich veins of vivid blue thunder steel. Crackling lightning raced over the ore's surface. As Haldor approached, the breath caught in his throat. The runes adorning his shield were glowing in proximity to the substance. "With this, we can fight back," said one of his companions. Haldor only nodded. More flashes of memories swarmed through the dream. Weapons forged from thunder steel, rune carved, brimming with the power of the storm. The formation of an elite group of warriors capable of wielding these implements of death. Storm Razors, their enemies would come to call them. Countless battles, streaking fire in the sky, surges of lightning, and the roars of dragons, and the crushing of weapons, carving through armor. But defeat after defeat, despite the Valkyrian's newfound power. He could only watch as more and more of his home was swallowed by the enemy, and the Skaldian southern Vard grew. Haldor snapped awake, and could not sleep again that night.